Malaria is the most significant vector-borne disease on the planet. Each year there are many millions of cases resulting in hundreds of thousands of deaths. But 10 to 15 years ago, things were even worse, and that's because of very substantial efforts to reduce malaria burden around the globe in recent years. And this has been a major public health success. It's estimated that there have been over 1 billion fewer cases of malaria and over 6 million fewer malaria deaths since 2000 due to these control efforts. An interesting feature here is that while some of this gain comes from new drugs and new diagnostics, the majority comes from vector control. Indeed, it's estimated that nearly 80% of the decline in disease burden in recent years can be attributed to mosquito control tactics such as spraying indoors with the residual insecticides, using insecticide-treated bed nets, and treating or removing larval habitats. And the logic here is simple. For malaria to be transmitted, a female mosquito vector needs to take a blood meal from someone infected with the malaria parasite. The parasite then needs to replicate within the mosquito. This takes around 2 weeks. And then the mosquito needs to take another blood meal on another person to generate a new infection. If you stop the mosquito anywhere in this process, you stop transmission. Technologies like insecticide-treated nets do this really well. Not only do they act as a physical barrier to provide personal protection, but the insecticide also takes the mosquito out of the equation to prevent it feeding on someone else. While the recent gains have been impressive, the job is far from complete. Many regions now have ambitious targets to push malaria towards elimination in the next 20 years. For this to be achieved, we need to intensify the use of existing tools. However, it's also clear that we're going to need new tools to help drive malaria down further. There's a lot of ongoing research exploring potential new tools for malaria control, including new ideas for vector control. Now, as is the nature of research, it's difficult to say exactly which ideas are going to bear fruit or how long this is going to take. However, there are some ideas that I think show great potential. And one of these is household modification. Mosquitoes find human hosts using their sense of smell, and they are very adept at detecting CO2 and other odors we emit and tracking these to enter houses through open eaves and windows. So, blocking and screening these entry points makes traditional houses more mosquito-proof. However, in addition to this physical protection, there's the potential to be a little smarter and add eave tubes that act something like chimneys to channel the odors out of the house. As the mosquitoes follow these odor plumes, they enter the tubes and are then confronted with insecticide-treated netting that kills them. In some ways, this is similar to an insecticide-treated net, providing both physical protection and reducing onward transmission. But eave tubes scale the protection up to household level, reducing transmission risk for individuals that might not have access to a net or perhaps forget or prefer not to use one. This type of approach is attractive because it's simple and can be implemented now. While these features are not necessarily unique to eave tubes, I think it's important to recognize that if we're going to maintain the pressure on malaria and build on recent successes, we need tools that are field ready. The battle will be lost if we don't get tools, either old or new, out of the door. As important, we also need to acknowledge that no one tool is going to solve the problem. Further progress towards malaria elimination will require multiple tools that can be combined to develop effective and sustainable integrated disease management strategies.